Hello and welcome to Janette's TV. I'm your host, Janette Burke. I am live on location at the Elevate Tech Conference here in Toronto, and I'm standing with Andy Semotiuk,
Yes.
who is from Forbes magazine, and he's also an international lawyer for immigration. So we're gonna have a little chat here about. First, tell us a little bit more about you and what you do.
Sure. Well, I'm a U.S. and Canadian immigration attorney. I've been practicing law for about 40 years now. I've helped over 10,000 people with various legal problems. I'm a former UN correspondent. I've published 4 books, and I write for Forbes.
And what's your area that you write for Forbes?
Investor immigration is the primary interest.
Okay, so let's talk about immigration. We as Canadians, we welcome a lot of immigration every single year from all different countries, most notably now Syrian and Persian and India and countries such as that are really coming into Canada, flooding Canada with our growth. But some of those cultures are bringing some problems along. And notably, what I want to discuss today, because the nature of my show, is the problems that are happening to the women. Okay, so it's been in the news. Let's talk about why, women are still subjected to such domestic violence and are being murdered. I mean, we have 3 cases in less than a year. A doctor who murdered his doctor wife, and now 2 other cases in the news in the last month. Why is it so prominent?
Okay. There's a transition happening. People are coming from abroad, coming to Canada, and there is a cultural, shall we say, heritage that's coming with them. In the case of the problem areas you've talked about, the ones you've identified, there is a problem with the view of women in the cultural background of the people who are coming to Canada. And there's the issue, for example, one area of concern has been Sharia law and how it might apply in Canada relative to our own laws, Canadian laws, or in the United States relative to American laws. So these people who have been harming, injuring the women involved are completely off the radar scale. I mean, they're extremists in their views of what women should be and how they should behave. And clearly none of us in Canada or the United States, neither country can tolerate that kind of attitude or that kind of lifestyle.
And also, it seems like the women themselves can't. So when they come here, they're also trying to escape cultural mores
Right.
and do different things with their life, like be educated, be professional, get out of the home, have other things going on, which the culture itself doesn't seem to allow them to do.
Right. There's this Saudi woman who was escaping Saudi Arabia and the lifestyle there and the expectations there, and who came recently to Canada, and with the good fortune of the foreign minister, Chrystia Freeland, was able to come here and is now settled here precisely for that reason, that she was trying to escape the restrictions and the requirements that Saudi Arabia was posing on her. So our job is to teach people who come to Canada about our laws and the way we view people and in society, and particularly women, the notion of dignity, respect, and equality of women and men, of all people in Canadian society, and of course in American society as well.
Okay, so if women are coming here themselves, applying to be immigrants and gain access to Canada and Canadian citizenship themselves, what can they do? Like, can they have power without their family? Can they get here and start a new life without their family? What would be the process?
They can. There's no problem in terms of someone applying and coming to Canada. They have to meet the same criteria that everybody does. But I would, in large measure, I would assume such women, especially women in extreme situations, would probably be claiming refugee status in Canada. One such claim can be based on gender alone, that, gender, a woman may be not mistreated in terms of her country of origin, and therefore
Raped,
or raped, yeah,
and that would give a refugee status.
of course, yeah. So once here, like everybody else, they have to adapt to the life here and try and settle and make a go of it here in Canada. It's not easy, but at least here, hopefully, they'll be protected by our laws and treated properly the way they should be treated as a human being anywhere.
Right, because we don't accept killing and rampage and dismemberment as a form of punishment for being educated, for having an affair, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
We just don't do that here.
Yeah.
And then now they're subjected to Canadian law, like the husbands are facing prosecutions. Okay, before we wrap this up, one quick other thing. We also see a huge problem in Canada with our Aboriginal women who are also treated terribly and cannot escape sort of a vicious cycle of abuse, of alcoholism, of drugs, and even of their children committing suicide. Do you have any comments to add on that?
Okay. The entire discussion that we're having here is outrageous behavior towards women. And I just want to leave the impression that I'm not, calmly discussing this topic. I am deeply concerned about the topics you've raised, including Aboriginal women. I think it's outrageous what's happening there as well. And indeed, all these people deserve protection and our concern and help. But any woman who's treated in that way deserves to be treated properly and deserves our concern and our help in terms of, it's any human being needs to be treated properly.
What can the government do to step in and help them a little more?
Well, in the case of Canadian governments now,
We're in the middle of an election, right?
right. Well, the big thing that, say, the current government has been on is this reconciliation effort, and as part of that, these missing Indigenous women on that highway, in particular in Alberta and BC, the missing children, missing women. So they've been looking into that, investigating that. But it's a matter of enforcing the laws that exist properly and doing your best you can to protect
And
people.
that also comes down to the actual local enforcement,
Yes.
right? So in the Aboriginal communities themselves, in the lands themselves, that they have communities, they have their own systems. It has to be enforced all the way through.
Yeah, but it's here. It's here in the
Mindset.
of everybody, like you, me, everybody. You have to start off here. But enforcement is the least that we can do in terms of turning things around. That's the bottom line, what we have to do. But we have to do a lot more than that in terms of educating our people and treating our people properly and calling out those people who are not treating people, and particularly
Stronger punishment for sure. This is Janette Burke, your host, signing off for Janette's TV. Please remember to like, comment, and share all our posts with everyone in your life, your friends, your family, your other females, and even males who can benefit from learning from this information. You will find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, Google, Vimeo, YouTube, you name it, we're there. Hashtag Janette's TV. And until next time, continue to be fabulous.